with Terry Bell.
Thank you very much, Ashley. We are joined today by Waupun Police Chief Jeremy Rasch. If you have any questions or comments for the chief, we invite you to join the conversation. You can call us or text us at 920-887-9595 or call our studio line at 885-4446. Chief Rasch, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me again, Terry.
Glad you got here in the cold and snow.
Yeah, she's a little chilly this morning.
For sure. Well, it's December now, which means that budget time has passed.
Yeah.
And there are some new items in the budget for the police department that should have a positive effect on public safety in your city.
Yeah, budget passed in mid-November, so it's always that time of year where you're glad you're through it, because we start that process basically in May already, when we start working with other city leaders and the other departments within the city. But one program that we had wanted to get going and get started was a drone program. We haven't had a drone program in the past, and we utilized drones quite a bit over the past number of years when they were available to us. So it's not only going to be used for the police department, but it's going to be used for the fire department and emergency management.
So if you didn't have a drone of your own, whose drones were you using up to this point?
We've called our friends at Beaver Dam Police Department, Dodge County Sheriff's Office, and Fond du Lac County Sheriff's Office. I believe we even used Ripon EMS has one. So there's a lot of agencies that have them in the area, but when you need it like now. So if they're not available, that's kind of a sticky situation.
You may have answered my question, but I was wondering, how does this improve things now that you have your own drone as opposed to having to borrow someone else's?
Right. So if you have to borrow somebody else's, they got to borrow their pilot as well. So like for Beaver Dam Police Department, Jeremiah Johnson is a pilot, and he's helped us out on an occasion or two. But he lives up by us, so it's probably a little bit more easy for him. But yeah, things that we would utilize it for is locating people, situations, maybe tactical situations. I know Beaver Dam uses theirs on the fire side, say if there's a structure fire. And often this happens with us. The fire department, they take care of the structure fire, and then they'll ask us to do extra patrols to see if there's any flare-ups or anything like that. Well, now you can take a drone that has infrared on it, and you can fly the drone around the house to make sure that there's no heat signatures, and infrared can see those signatures really easily. And so it's just things like that. And even for emergency management, we talk about flooding and tornado damage that has happened to our communities, and often when you have damage, you have to document it, whether it's with photos, many photos, or video, because all that information has to get to the state, and then ultimately, if it becomes a FEMA issue, it's got to get to the federal government too, so you have to do a lot of documentation.
Absolutely. So any other things in the budget that you think people will be glad are there?
I think we continue to work on our radio upgrades. So in Fond du Lac County, the radio system is switching from UHF to 7,800 megahertz. So with that being said, we have to have dual band radios, all portable radios, and squad car radios. So we've been working towards this for the past few years, and we hope to have that project completed by 2027. And with that being said, then the fire department, it's their turn. So they're looking at 2027 to 2030 to purchase all of their radios. So it's a large project that takes a number of years to fund, at least locally for us. Some other agencies had budgeted to do it all in 1 year. I just didn't think for our agency that was fiscally responsible, so we're kind of doing it in like a 4 or 5 year span.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing for people to know. Crimes and emergencies, they don't recognize the boundaries of jurisdictions. So oftentimes, you're working together with people from one or several communities. And it's been an issue for years that the radios you wear on your person don't work well with one another.
Right, and there's a lot of dead spots throughout Dodge County. There were the same in Fond du Lac County. Like the Brandon area was notoriously, even for cell phone coverage now, it's still bad. But the 7,800 megahertz makes it for a better interoperability of all agencies. We've noticed a lot better working radio system, and it will continue to get better.
Very good. We need to take a break, but we will be right back. We're talking with Waupun Police Chief Jeremy Rasch on Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Listen to Green Bay.
Barry Bell.
Thank you very much, Ashley. We're talking with Waupun Police Chief Jeremy Rasch on this edition of Community Comment. Especially if you live in Waupun and you want to join the conversation, we invite you to call us or text us at 920-887-9595, or you can call our studio line at 885-4446. And we were just talking about the drone that you're going to acquire next year, thanks to the recently passed budget. But you're also looking for grant money. I'm guessing that's to offset the cost of that to taxpayers. Enlighten me on that, please.
Yeah, we're always looking for grant opportunities, and one recent grant that came up is we were just talking about the radios, and radios are not cheap. So for 26, I have budgeted like $36,000 for radio upgrades. 27, it's about $56,000. So this recent grant that came out is basically for that changeover to the 7,800 megahertz radios, and it allows for each department to apply for a $50,000 grant. So if I can take $50,000 off that budget, that definitely helps the city. We had a really tight budget plan for 2026. We had to remove some things citywide and shift some things around and push them back. So anything that we can get kind of helps ease the pain a little bit.
Certainly. I don't know why my brain went to the drones. Yeah, it's the grant is for the radios, as you mentioned. Yeah, and it would be very helpful, I would think. I can't recall any specific numbers, but I remember sitting in on a meeting of the committee, the countywide committee that's looking into this, and the numbers were significant. This will not be a cheap upgrade.
Yeah, whether you get a Kenwood radio or you get a Motorola radio, there's different pricing. Some people believe in one more than the other. It's for our department to replace all of our radios. It was well over $150,000. In the fire department, it's going to be pushing $300,000 just because they got more members that need radios. So it's significant. You look at cities like the size of Fond du Lac. They're it was over $1 million for them just to get radios.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. That's not the only items you're looking for in terms of looking for grants. Also, you're looking for grants to fight drug trafficking.
Yeah, recently, so I'm on the board for the Dodge County Drug Task Force, and we had our recent quarterly meeting, and there's a grant opportunity out there for drug trafficking. So for an agency my size, we can receive up to $25,000 for this grant, and I would be looking to get surveillance equipment out of the grant. All the chiefs and the sheriff, we'd all decided that, this is something that we need to bolster our drug task force, or DTF we call it, and if we can get more equipment or training or something that would help that group, it would definitely benefit the group and the whole county as a whole. Now, besides just the drug work that the surveillance, I'm looking at a surveillance pole camera. So in recent months, and actually last week, we've had some thefts from construction areas. So often people are looking to break into trailers and buildings to steal equipment, such as construction equipment, the expensive things like drills and electrician equipment. We could put this camera up in that area where there is new construction and hopefully solve or combat any thefts or burglaries.
Where do these grants come from? Are they from state government, federal government, maybe private foundations dedicated to public safety? Where do they come from?
Yeah, that's a good question. Some of them come from the state. Like this drug trafficking grant was a state funded grant. But there are obviously a lot of federal grants out there too. I know a lot of them were put on hold for a little bit, but I think they're coming back online. And then there are private ones as well. I know Firehouse Subs does one often for public safety, and a lot of other private entities do provide grant options.
How big of a dent do these grants make in your budget and the responsibility for the taxpayers? How much does that help alleviate some of that? Is it a little bit, or is it more than people might suspect?
For our agency, probably a little bit. In my career, I've seen a number of grants. I've written a few. And often, a lot of these grants are triggered for cities like Milwaukee, So when you have an opportunity to get a grant locally in a smaller agency, you got to jump at it, because we might be getting equipment that we never would have been able to purchase just because a pole camera is over $20,000. Now, I have to have good reason to want to purchase equipment that way or for that amount. And with having a grant, it just alleviates that, basically that necessity of taking money from somewhere else just to purchase a piece of equipment that you know you're going to use, but it's more of a want.
Okay.
But it will really help you in investigations.
Certainly. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing the technology that is available to you these days, but imagine it doesn't come cheaply.
Right.
Right, for sure, for sure. So you have the drug trafficking grant that you're applying for, the radio upgrade grant, and this is a process that I imagine is happening all the time. They're looking for the availability of these funds that can offset costs to the city.
Yeah, and the city is really active on them, on grants, and they're applying for different grants that might not pertain to law enforcement. The fire departments are applying for them as well on a regular basis. So any little bit that we can get to help alleviate the pain of our budgets and help us get to where our operations need to succeed, in my opinion, that's where we're going to try and get these available grants.
Okay. I want to pivot a little bit. So this is something maybe we should have mentioned closer to the beginning of the show. But you have an awards luncheon to recognize some people who've done some good work.
Yeah, every December we have a department awards luncheon. We celebrate, we come together. It's a potluck style luncheon. We've been doing this for about 8 years now. And, it's a great time to come together as a team, but we also present department awards, whether it's somebody that received commendation for doing something great out in the field, or whether it's somebody that receives a pin for, say they became a field training officer. Well, they're going to get a field training officer pin, or they became a drug recognition expert or something in those, something specialized. So we recognize them there. We also have, in both Fond du Lac and Dodge County, there are countywide awards. So if somebody goes above and beyond the normal duties, we will nominate them for a county award as well. And we've had a number of officers in the past, and non-officers, non-sworn staff. Even citizens. Citizens have been nominated from the city of Waupun for some of the good deeds that they have done.
Certainly. And that recognition is coming up yet in December?
Yeah. So ours is coming up locally for the Waupun PD in December, and then Fond du Lac County and Dodge County, I believe, are January and February.
Okay. Do you happen to know any dates off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head.
That's fair. Okay. We'll dig in and get to the bottom of that for sure. Another thing we need to do is take a break for the news, but we will be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. are talking to Waupun Police Chief Jeremy Rasch. And if you would like to join the conversation, we invite you to do so. You can call us or text us at 920-887-9595, or you can call the studio line at 885-4446. One of the things that has to happen in order for you to do your job successfully is that officers need ongoing professional development and training, and that's a big focus for you right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's continually throughout the year. We have officers that want to go to training, and we have to send them to training or do training in-house. So the Wisconsin Training and Standards Board requires that every law enforcement officer have a minimum of 24 hours per year of training to stay certified.
Okay. So tell us a little bit more, please.
So one of the things that we get involved with every year is I'm on the Fond du Lac County Law Exec Board. We provide a 3-day in-service where we try and get all law enforcement officers in Fond du Lac County trained and updated with different things such as legal update and some other areas and topics. I'll talk about them in a briefly here. The exciting thing this year is at the old UW Fond du Lac campus, there is actually some portions of the building and classroom area where they have created a Fond du Lac County Public Safety Training Center. So we're kind of trying to do a big kickoff here in January with our in-service training. So it's bringing some excitement. We have a spot that we can go that we can kind of call our own. We know we're not going to get kicked out if there's some other meeting that's set up. So, but that's going to be at the old UW Fond du Lac campus. So if you don't know, the UW Fond du Lac campus was basically shut down, about a year ago, and the county has put some money into that. They've moved some offices of people from departments like Human Services out to that facility, and I believe they shut down a couple of the other older buildings that were in the city of Fond du Lac. So with that being said, every year a different agency in Fond du Lac County is in charge of organizing that training. So this year, for 2026, it's Waupun Police Department's turn, so we got to organize it and put a little bit more effort into that process. So we're exciting. Some of the topics are, the first one is drug trends. So having my friend Jeremiah Wincher, who is a special agent in charge for the Department of Justice, DCI, and currently his position is he works in the Lake Winnebago MEG unit, which the Department of Justice oversees. So our agency belongs to that MEG unit as well as the Dodge County Task Force, but we also belong to that MEG unit up in, it stretches from the valley down to Fond du Lac County. So interesting enough about Jeremiah Wincher, his dad was actually the chief that hired me way back in 2002. So Tom was a chief in Waupun, and prior to that over in Elkhart Lake. So I've known Jeremiah for a long time, but he comes to us and trains and talks about the drug trends that are going on in the area and things that we can do to combat those drugs.
I imagine situations change, laws change, procedures change. You find out things from training to training that make things different. So, what has changed, in the world and the nature of drug enforcement that you're going to be sharing with your cohorts?
Well, he's going to give the update, so
Okay.
He's probably going to share some new tactics.
Mm-hmm.
Some things that they're doing investigatively to try and get better outcomes. That group is really, in my opinion, probably the best drug task force in the state. They often win drug unit of the year by the Narcotics Officers Association. So Jeremiah comes in with a lot of expertise. Like I said, he'll talk about tactics. He'll talk about investigative procedures. He'll probably bring up some new statutorily requirements, and also maybe what type of equipment they've been using. So he kind of goes full circle. Unfortunately, right now in our area, a lot of the drug problems are revolving around fentanyl and cocaine and methamphetamines. So they're prevalent in this area all the way up through the valley. I think we've talked about that in the past, and it's pretty eye-opening, and it's kind of scary on how much of that is coming into our region.
I want to talk a little bit more about the venue. You say the former UW Fond du Lac County campus. That has to be a fantastic opportunity because unfortunately, as these schools close around Wisconsin, not all of them are as useful to the community as the old Fond du Lac County campus seems to be for the Fond du Lac Waupun area.
Yeah, and I think some of that is, some of that building was, constructed, I believe, probably in the late 90s. I know I took a class there in the early 2000s, and it still felt kind of new, There are some older buildings on that campus, but it comes down to maintenance and upkeep, and I'm glad to see that they're actually utilizing that facility, and likely it didn't cost much for upkeep because it sounds like the maintenance was done over the past number of years properly.
And as you mentioned, it gives because there's a pretty good chunk of the campus that's dedicated to public safety training. So you're not competing with anybody else for space.
Right, and we're not competing with others for space. There's classroom space. There's tactical training space. So I think it's going to be a well-rounded training center. One of the retired Fond du Lac County deputies, he just retired this year. He's actually the one that's organizing all the training at the facility, so I know him, so that's kind of nice, and basically everybody in the county knows him. He was just one of those guys that could talk to anybody, and so you have an instant contact. If you want to put something on, you get a hold of Dave up there at the campus, and he can put things together and get that wheel spinning.
Very good. We need to take a quick break here, but we will be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV. Here is Terry Bell.
Thank you so much, Ashley. We're talking with Waupun Fire Chief. We're talking with Waupun Fire Chief Jeremy Rasch.
Police chief.
Police Chief, my gosh.
That's all right.
I am really dropping the ball here. Police Chief Jeremy Rasch. If you have any questions or comments, please, there's still plenty of time to join the program. 920-887-9595, or you can call the studio line at 885-4446. And we were talking about the training that's upcoming, and there's a lot of different aspects of the work that you'll be brushing up on.
So yeah, besides the drug trends training, we got a legal update. So District Attorney Eric Toney and his team will be giving us our annual legal update. I don't know if there hasn't been too many things that have been changed statutorily, but it's also always nice to go through. They do a lot of what ifs, on different cases. What if this happened instead of this? How would it have changed the outcome and how you could have investigated it? So it can be challenging, especially for a lot of the younger officers. Then we have a training on mobile crisis response. So in Fond du Lac County and in Dodge County, we have mobile crisis social workers that work hand in hand with law enforcement on a regular basis. So we're going to do a little bit of an update on that and maybe talk about a success story within Fond du Lac County. And then finally, Greg Anderson, who is a detective and a digital forensics certified associate for Fond du Lac County Sheriff's Office, he's going to provide a presentation on digital evidence, such as downloading phones and getting the information that we need. That a lot of our investigations, the bigger investigations, require us to get a lot of data from phone dumps, computer dumps, things like that. And he's going to go over some of what he does and how he uses that data to help a case and help that case get to prosecution.
Just as a layperson, it would seem like that would probably have to be a big growing part of law enforcement.
Yeah, and we locally at Waupun PD, we have what's called Celebrite. So that is a system that does download phone information. We're looking at a different one for next year, but we'll see if we come to agreement with that company. But it's very important in a lot of the higher end cases to acquire that data.
Okay. Let's move on to some of the more lighthearted business today. And you have some community events that the police department is involved with and is doing good things for the community.
Yeah, the fun stuff that's going on in our world. So often we get requested to help with certain community events, especially around Christmas time. And tonight, actually, I got a number of officers going up to the Green Bay area because it's the Christmas Lights of Christmas. We had that event at Culver's back in August, so now they turn over the gift cards to our staff, and our staff brings those gift cards of all the money that was raised in our area, and we end up handing out gift cards to people that are in need. So it kind of comes, again, full circle. We have a great community that donates to our programs like that, and like officers and cops on a rooftop, and it's nice to be able to bring that money back to our community and help others. So that's tonight that we're going to be obtaining those. Then Thursday we got Fond du Lac County Shop with a Cop up at Walmart in Fond du Lac. So we got a number of officers going there. I'll be there. I always bring my wife because often she teaches up in Fond du Lac, so often we get one of her students or a student that she has taught in the past, and it makes it a little bit easier. She's a special ed teacher, and often we get some of the special needs kids, so they have that face that they know. And
Oh, sure.
So it helps
Yeah.
helps me immensely, helps the kid immensely.
Of course.
Just by bringing her along. But and then Friday night we got the Waupun Christmas Parade starting at 6:30 p.m. That route, it's on Main Street, so it starts at St. Joe's on West Main Street, and it goes east onto East Main Street, and then north onto Fond du Lac Street, and it ends at East Franklin Street on Fond du Lac Street. So that's Friday at 6:30. Then we got Dodge County Shop with a Cop on December 13th here in Beaver Dam. We got a number of staff involved in that. And also on the same morning, we're double booked that day. We have Breakfast with Santa out at the Rock in Waupun. I think tickets are available. That starts at 8:30 a.m., goes to 11 a.m., and the big man, Santa, arrives at 9:45. So kind of a busy time for us in law enforcement. I know all the other departments in the area are probably taking part in a lot of the same events or similar events, but those are the fun times for law enforcement.
Oh, absolutely. I would have to think it's a great time to interact with the public. As is often said in law enforcement, a lot of times you're dealing with people who are having their worst day.
Right.
And it's got to be a great opportunity to be interacting with people, under happier circumstances.
A lot easier, a lot more relaxed. It's nice to have conversations with people that maybe you haven't met in the past, or maybe old friends from the past.
Mm-hmm, certainly. And one last topic before we go. With all the snow we've been getting lately, this is a good time to remind everybody about winter parking rules for Waupun.
Yeah, our favorite topic, winter parking. Everybody loves it, including the police. No, not really. So in the city of Waupun, our ordinance is a little bit different than most. So for a period of 48 hours immediately following an accumulated snowfall of 2 inches or more, you cannot park on the street from 2 a.m. till 6 a.m. So if the snow stops tonight at midnight, you can't park on the street from 2 a.m. till 6 a.m. tomorrow morning or the following morning. So I think that second morning, sometimes people forget about that, and if DPW's out cleaning up, we will still cite for that day. But if they're not, typically, if they're all finished up, typically we will not enforce that. But if they are out working, we usually will cite for that morning. Like I said, it's different than most. It used to be in the city of Waupun, you couldn't park on the street at all during the winter. So, I mean, you probably get like 3, 4, 5 days maybe out of the year where you got to really pay attention to that snowfall number.
But that's no longer the case?
So now it's this one. So the 48 hours, the 2 mornings after that.
Certainly. How has that transition been for folks? How good has compliance been?
So when I was a young copper, I would spend a lot of hours when you couldn't park on the street at all. You would spend a lot of hours writing parking tickets. So like the first day of winter parking, whatever day it was in November back then, we would write hundreds of parking tickets, and that would take forever. So it kind of alleviated some of that work from us, which maybe wasn't as important as other things. So I think for the most part, after that first snowstorm now with the new ordinance, people remember it. It's usually that first snowstorm, they forget about it. Oh yeah, it's winter parking, I got a ticket, but subsequently after that, I think we have a lot better compliance.
I think it sounds like sounds like a little easier on folks in Waupun. A lot of communities, the parking rules are effect whether it snows or not.
Right.
So this will only affect after 2 inches or more.
Right. And a lot of communities are the, even or odd side of the street, and that can become confusing because you're looking at your calendar and you're not looking at it for the next morning. So that can become confusing, and it can also be difficult for plows to get through, whether there's cars parked on one side of the road or both sides of the road. So I think that's why they went to this. They wanted the cars off the road so DPW could get things plowed and cleared and everything back to as normal as can be.
Yeah, and how is that working for the snowplow drivers?
It works a lot better for the snowplow drivers, because there's a lot less cars parked out on the road, typically after that first snowfall.
Absolutely. So is there a hard end date for the winter parking rules, or it just depends on the weather?
It just depends on the weather. There is no specific date range or month range. It's just if it snows 2 or more inches anytime during the year, that's it.
All right. Our guest for this hour has been Waupun Police Chief Jeremy Rasch. Jeremy, thanks so much for coming in and talking with us. It's been an hour well spent.
Appreciate you having me. Have a great holidays to you and everybody else listening.
You've been listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Ho, ho.